because Zoom has taken ownership of my webcam. So you can see me on Zoom if you sign up for this virtual open day. You'll probably just see a black screen if you're watching the Twitch stream. So yeah, for those of you guys who are tuned in, this is just about the Swansea College of Art virtual open day. So if you're looking for a tutorial, you can log off. That's okay. Don't worry about it. So this is just me kind of streaming what the open day is all about. I'll probably pause and duck out once I get prospective applicants showing up in the Zoom meeting room and that sort of a thing. But I thought in the interim, I'd just talk a little bit about what's happening and what's going on. So yeah, with a Swansea College of Art virtual open day, we have something called Hijack set up. So that's interesting. You can pop in there in any one of these various different courses and ask questions about them. I can talk a little bit about some of these guys as well. I wonder if I can bring my video up by, no, I think I'd better leave my Zoom open meeting up. So that's cool. That's really weird. That is a shortcoming, I think, of PCs that will need to be addressed in the future. A video stream should be able to be tapped into by any software. But I suppose the software takes ownership of the camera. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about the operating system, I don't really see how it would work. But, oh well, there you go. Okay, so you guys don't want to see my ugly mug anyway? All right, so yeah, music tech. Yeah, it's cool. Simon teaches that, and he's an amazing musician. He's always letting me borrow his kit. So I've got a Roland keyboard and a Focusrite sound card, and I'm doing some music writing, film and TV, yeah, fine art, graphic design, illustration, some really good illustration students coming out of that program. So we got a lot of like uber creative stuff. One of the things that I really kind of promote in the animation and games program is to get out of silo thinking and sort of work with the set design guys or go to the photography studios and talk to those guys about what's the best way to take texture photographs and that kind of a thing. So I really sort of promote this universal community of the arts when you come to the university, right? I think it's super important, right? Because it's so easy as an artist to get tunnel visioned in your discipline that you stop growing and you stop developing as an artist, right? And it's super important that you understand the various disciplines in terms of how they approach art. I don't want to sit here and deliver a lecture, though. I'm here to talk a little bit about the university and kind of introduce you guys to it as well. So there were a couple of questions that I can talk a little bit about. So I got asked in the Hijack chat about industry speakers, right? So that seems to be sort of a relative point for you guys, and I can emphatically say, yeah, no problem. A lot of my mates are in Vancouver and they work in the industry. So the last time we had a sand event here at Swansea, I managed to convince the administration to foot some travel bills for my mates to come down and give talks. And it was a great excuse to see them once again. But Corey Pelton and Carmen Chung, they both came down from Blizzard, which was great. I love talking to them about the Blizzard studios, especially because when I was in Vancouver, I was working at EA. So we had a sort of a friendly rivalry with the Blizzard studio guys. So it's really kind of interesting to see and hear firsthand news from them what life is like, a day in the life of a Blizzard artist. And my old flatmate, Brian Judan, came down. And at the time, he was working at EA Motive on the Star Wars. I'm always getting this confused. Battlefront. Star Wars Battlefront. Yeah. And yeah, it was awesome. What a wonderful opportunity to kind of catch up with him again. So when I can't get my industry mates down from Vancouver, I've got some friends working down in Cardiff at Bad Wolf Studios on his Dark Materials. So I had my friend Sean Varney, who is a VFX producer, come down and give a talk on virtual production, which was really, really cool. So yes, we definitely do have industry speakers come down and give talks. I'm hoping to get a few more people from London down for talks. Yeah, there's some really, really good, strong connections with His Dark Materials. So expect people from the art department, from the visual effects department, from Previs, and those guys to come down and give a little chat at the university. So yeah, that's industry speakers. Let's see. I'm just going to pop over and see what's happening in the other sort of chat window. So I've got a Zoom meeting scheduled for now. So I've got my Zoom window up at the moment. And if you guys are out there and you've signed up or registered for the Swansea Virtual Open Day, you can just pop into the Zoom meeting. And I'll hear you when you guys walk in. I set up a digital door chime. There's also our hijack, right? So you can pop into the hijack thread and drop some questions down in here, right? So we got Swansea College of Art Virtual Open Day, and you just need to filter down to game design and computer animation, right? Okay, so do you have people from industry doing talks on the course? Yes. So I answered that. That was a key one. And yeah, any questions you have, just pop in there, right? Let's see, what else did we discuss? So I think the other kind of thing that people are curious about is, what do you need to present in your portfolio? There's two different ways I can answer this, right? There's character designs, prop designs, environment designs, things like that, some prior 3D work, et cetera, et cetera. But I'd rather not grocery list the requirements of a portfolio, because really what I'm looking for is passion, and that passion that translates into the visuals that you produce, right? So to give you an example, I had a student who submitted a portfolio that had nothing but creature work in it. Cats, dogs, horses, lions, a couple of dragons, some mythic beasts, but boy, were they good. They were amazing, 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 amazing. And there is a case of, if I'd set out a set formula, characters, props, environments, maybe a vehicle, I wouldn't have been able to see that. I wouldn't have been able to sort of see where her passion was, right? And fortunately, Sean Varney was visiting at the time and had a look. And, if you guys don't know His Dark Materials, I mean, that's very creature heavy. So all the characters in that have demons on their shoulder, or daemons. And so they are looking for creature animators or creature artists and things like that. So yeah, that was, so that's portfolio requirements, right? So just stuff you're really passionate about, right? Because I want to see the kind of stuff that you can produce when you throw everything at it, right? So that would be the best approach. If you love just cartoon characters, if you love anime, doesn't matter what it is, just target it, and that's the kind of portfolio I'll take a look at. Now, a little bit of a tidbit whilst I'm waiting for anybody else to show up for this open day is the interview themselves. Now, interviews can be quite intimidating, right? So you think a university interview is just a panel of, like an X Factor panel of judges, and they're passing judgment on your work and whether or not you're of value to the program, and then they allow you in. I treat it very, very differently, right? Generally for me, a university interview is about helping you find your path, right? Because it's very, very important that, yes, I mean, in part and parcel, it's whether or not you belong on my program, but it's more important for me to help you find your focus. Because when you come into a university environment, maybe you don't know what you want to do yet. Maybe there's 3 or 4 different things that you're interested in, and you're confused, and you're not very clear about what it is that you want to do. Well, I try to help with that, right? And I have done. I've had people come in with a portfolio and say, look, here's a bunch of environment models, and I really want to be a character designer. And I'm like, and here's some animation and all kinds of stuff, but I really want to be a character designer. And I'll say, are you sure, man? Because, your animation is really, really good, right? Or they'll show me an environment portfolio, and I'll say, you know what? Looks like your passion's in lighting. Do you know lighting is an actual department? It's actually a discipline in the studio? And people will be like, no, really? You mean I could just light? So it's about me kind of helping you find what you're passionate about and where you want to go, when sometimes you don't even know yourself, right? So I said something cheesy today. I said my job is to help you become the best you possibly can. It's like very self-helpy, but it is true. I don't try to kind of superimpose my vision or my visual styles onto you so that you can be a carbon copy of me. That's not what it's about. It's about me identifying where your strengths lie in terms of what's your style. You do kind of more like Bleach style stuff, manga. Yeah, okay, well, I'll push you in that direction. I'll just make sure that you go from being good to being really, really good, right? So that's sort of my focus in everyday classes and things like that. There was a question about whether or not to take a foundation course before jumping in. Well, here's one thing I think is really important. You got to remember that you don't go to university already knowing how to do stuff, right? That's really important to me. You come to university to learn how to do all of this stuff, right? So you don't have to be too worried about, well, I don't know how to do this, or I've never touched a 3D program in my life, or, I don't really know what I'm doing. Well, if you don't know what you're doing, that's fine. That's what university's for. That's my job. My job is to teach you, right? And to get you familiar with the things that you want to become good at eventually, right? So straight off the bat, you don't need to be like super polished, right? We do all the polishing on the university level. The other question was whether or not you should take a foundation course. Well, that's certainly open to you guys as well. However, I do recommend that one of the things I generally tend to do is if somebody has an interest in an area, or they feel like they're lacking in a particular area, what I generally tend to do is hold an extracurricular class. I'll say, okay, you guys want to take a look at Z modeling inside of ZBrush? Yeah, okay. You know what? Outside of class, I'll schedule some additional lectures, right? And then I'll walk you guys through it. Just last year, there were two girls in the going from level 5 to level 6, and they were very interested in Marvelous Designer. So if you don't know, that's a clothing simulation fashion design software that's being heavily adopted in the industry, right? And so, yeah, I did 3 sessions with them, showing them how to use Marvelous Designer, right? So I generally tend to do that. And I think part of it is my culture, right? In Canada and America, it's all about the after-school clubs, isn't it? Right? So it's all about the chess club or the math club or the glee club and that kind of a thing. So holding extracurricular workshops is just definitely in my DNA. It's just part of my upbringing. So I am really, really up for workshops. And I prefer the workshop thing because I get to continue teaching you guys, right? Yeah, you can take foundation, but no, I'd rather show you my way if you're up for it, right? If you want a different perspective, that's pretty cool as well. Because I always like to come at a problem from various different visual angles. But I do definitely like to shepherd you along the way and then fill in the gaps in your knowledge as and when I find them, right? Okay, so I'm just going to pop back over into the virtual open day. I don't see any other questions. I'm just refreshing the page in terms of the hijack. And nothing new's coming through. So I'm just going to pop over into the WhatsApp group. And yeah, that's cool. So the one of the things I'm doing is I'm asking people who are interested to, and I'll meet you guys on Zoom, no problem. But I'll try and shift you guys over to Discord quickly, because Zoom has a 40-minute time limit, and man, we can't cover the stuff we want to cover in 40 minutes, can we? Right? And I'm sure you guys have loads of questions, especially with the things being a little bit unsure with COVID-19 and all that kind of stuff. But don't worry about it, right? We've got a fairly solid plan in place. At least for us, it was a bit of a no-brainer for us to put a plan in place, because a lot of what we do in both games and animation happens online, happens in front of a computer anyway. So it was fairly straightforward for us. Oh, I heard something. Have we got somebody popping in? We do. Okay, I'm going to pause the stream, guys.